Good morning. Can I have your mark sheets, please? My name is Natalia and this is my colleague Alejandra. She is gonna just listen to us. These are three parts to this examination. Don't worry if I interrupt you at any time, as timing is quite important. What's your name?
Hector.
And what's your name?
Lourdes.
First of all, we'd like to know something about you, so I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. How have your hobbies changed since you were a child?
My my hobbies haven't changed that much since I was a child. I mostly just started doing some new hobbies. So besides the hobbies I did when I was little, I now do more. I now do more hobbies.
What are the qualities of a good student?
I think the qualities of a good student should be the responsibility to handle the homework and being on time and being really kind and respectful to their classmates and their teachers.
Who has who has had the biggest influence in your life?
I think the one who has had the biggest influence in my life is my older sister. She has helped me through a lot of hard times on my life.
And the last one, what do you recycle?
What I mostly recycle plastic bottles, but I started recycling cardboard recently.
Fine. Sorry, fine. So let's go with Lourdes. Lourdes, what sports did you do when you were a child?
When I was a child, I take classes of gymnastics for 4 years. I remember. Um, and I was in a soccer team for a while too, but just 1 year.
Okay. So what's the most interesting place you've ever been to?
Mm, I think it will be United States the first time I went. Because the city looked like it I were in a movie. Um, yeah.
Okay, what's more motivating, having a challenging job or a good salary?
I think it will be more motivating have a good salary because um, you can have money for a lot of things we need to in our life. And
And for the last one, what do you use technology for in your daily life?
um, I use technology for um,
Part two. In this part, I am going to give you each of you two pictures, and I'd like you to compare the pictures and answer a question about them in about 1 minute and a half. You will also have to answer a short question about your partner's picture. Don't worry if I interrupt you as timing is very important. Okay, Hector, it's your turn first. Here are your pictures. They show two types of technology, mobile phones and social networks. Please compare the two photos and say what you think about the advantages and disadvantages of using both these types of technology.
I think both these types of technology are really useful in the everyday life of most people, but they do have advantages and disadvantages. In the first picture, we can see four people really concentrated on their electronic devices, which, in my opinion, is something not very productive since they could be talking to each other and establishing real in real life communication instead of staying in a virtual media, because that can lead to serious issues. But in the everyday life, in your health even. But the advantages of that first picture could be that they can communicate with people they know who aren't nearby, like people from other countries or other cities. And in the second picture, we can see a person, which I can only assume is a student. Um,
Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Hector. Lourdes, how often do you use social networks?
Mm, I usually, well, I use social networks like every day. um, I must use it for communication and for entertainment.
Thank you. Now, Lourdes, here are your pictures. They show different types of holidays. Please compare the two photos and talk about the advantages and disadvantages of both types of holidays.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I think one of the disadvantages about that holiday will be that it will feel extremely hot because when you are in the desert, there's so much there's so much sand and in the beach too. But one of the advantages it will be um you can I don't know see the environment. Um, you can walk around in the beach and see the the water and have a relaxed day. Um,
Okay, thank you, Lourdes. Now, Hector, do you prefer on holidays with a travel agency or make your own arrangement and why?
well, when I go on vacation, I mostly prefer doing my own arrangements instead of going with a travel agency, because tra- travel agencies mostly just take you places, but they have to be on a very strict schedule. So if you want to stay longer than expected with a travel agency,
Right.
that they
Okay. Now we're gonna go to part three, and you're gonna have 4 minutes per pair. And now I'd like you to talk about something together for about 4 minutes. Again, don't worry if I interrupt you, as timing is very important. You and your partner have decided that it's time to move in together. You're not sure if you should buy the house or just rent it. Here are some ideas to help you. You can use your own ideas as well.
well, I think if we buy the house, since it's our property, we could have more freedom about what to do inside the house, because we can modify it. We can do modifications to the house, like painting it or putting new memorabilia inside. And if we just rented the house, I think we wouldn't have that much freedom. What do you think?
Um, I think yes. It's how to say it. Yes, you can have more freedom if the house is owned or do whatever you want. But I think if you rent for a while, you can save enough money for in a time buy a new house. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that sounds really good. Because if you buy a house, it can be really expensive. But if you rent a house, you can rent a smaller place to live in, while you keep saving up money to eventually buy a bigger house to be more comfortable. And I also think
yeah,
the issue about buying or renting a house could be about stability and freedom, because when you are renting, you need uh, economic stability to keep living there, because you can't just spend all your money and worry about everything later because you need to pay the rent. But if the house is yours, you can spend all your money on food, for example, and then just worry about eating when you are having a hard time making ends meet economically. I think that is a really good debate by itself. It would be really important to discuss that. What do you think?
um, yes. Well, I think it will be difficult if you don't have the stability for buy a house because they're expensive,
Mm-hmm.
the houses. So yes, it will be difficult to buy a
Yeah,
house if you
because
don't
it's
have.
really expensive. And
Yeah, right.
but if you if you can afford to buy a house, you get more freedom to do whatever you want with it. And the only bad thing about that is if you have the money already, or if you have to take out a loan, or and and consequently pay the mortgage of the house, because having a mortgage on your house can be dangerous if you don't know how to handle it. And on the other side, renting a house.
Right.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of the test.